Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And today we want to understand some of the basic principles behind money. All right. And Pill Method stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. Once we understand these basic principles about money, do you realize that more marriages can be saved because we understand how money actually works? Do you realize that there's a lot of anxiety that goes on with money because of things we don't know, because of things we fear? Listen, do you let's say you're a person that likes to be secure, that you like to know where the money's coming from. You want to know if we can actually pay off this mortgage, if we can save money for retirement. Are we going to be running out of money? And let's just say that you're a person that doesn't like to work all the time and not be able to enjoy life now. I don't want to work all the time and just pay bills. I want to have some enjoyment. I want to do some things. Do you know that's a classic saver and spender mentality? And there are ways to fix that so that a saver and a spender can coexist. What if somebody wants to be an entrepreneur? Maybe they want to invest in the stock market. Maybe, just maybe, there's one spouse that says, that's too risky. Most businesses fail in the first 5 years. And so they're coming up with these contrasting ideas. Did you know that there's a way for a person that is risk averse? They just can't handle risk, and a person who's willing to take a risk. Do you know those two ideas can exist in the same family at the same time? But it's all in understanding how money works in the first place so that you can predict the future and plug in one spouse's idea into your financial plan. And then we'll take a look at the other spouse's idea and plug that in as well. And then we can see the end result working both plans. And if you like the end result working both plans, now you have a foundation for a conversation about money. But folks, let me tell you something right now. And I need you to focus in on this. Start sharing this right now with people. Start sharing it with people right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, start sharing it right now, because I'm going to tell you something that you need to know about how we've been educated about money. We haven't been. We have not been educated about how money works, how loans work. We've been told some things, folks. We've been told some things about how to budget. Everybody, you kind of know what a budget is. Okay. We've been taught some basic math. All right. But if you have, listen, do me a favor right now. In the comment section, have you ever been taught how a loan actually works? Credit cards work. Do you know how they work? How a mortgage works, how a personal loan works, how your student loan. How does a student loan actually work? How does the bank make money through using these tools? And what can I do to make sure that I can cut whatever they're charging me? Did you know that you can cut whatever the bank is charging by 75%? You don't need to pay all of that interest. Did you know that when the right time is to start investing, Did you know that trying to save your way to financial health is exactly the wrong thing to do? Oh yeah, because we've got people out there right now, okay, like Dave Ramsey, who talks about buying things with cash. Well, listen, let me tell you something. I'm going to put something on the screen, and we're going to touch on part of this today. But when it comes to cash is not king. Uh-uh. Cash is not king. Next Friday, we're going to be talking about that. Okay, if you're online, you'll be able to see it. Cash is not king. We're going to be talking about that next Friday. And we're going to be talking about the math behind it and how it makes sense. One of the things that we're going to point out is we need to start asking good questions when it comes to money. Good questions. And when people say that cash is king, you shouldn't borrow, let me tell you something. Credit is for people who have resources. Credit is for people who have resources. Credit is not for people who don't have resources. Don't use it, don't touch it. Here's why. Because if you borrow somebody's money, you want to be able to pay it back. If you borrow somebody's money, you want to be able to pay it back. And here's what you need to understand about the business of finances is the wise use of somebody else's money is way better. Not just a little bit better, but way better than cash. In fact, when you understand opportunity cost, and I need you to write this down, again, look up some of these terms. Opportunity cost. When you look at opportunity cost, guess what? To buy your house, never pay cash for it. It is actually cheaper. Listen to me now. It is actually cheaper to borrow money than to pay cash for the house. Well, Don, if I pay cash for the house, I don't owe any interest. Well, yeah, because that's as far as we've been taught to think. But what we need to do is start thinking about this. If I spend my cash, can I also invest the same amount of cash? If I was able to be fortunate enough to save up $300,000 and put that $300,000 and buy my house for $300,000, can I also invest that same $300,000? You can't. So let me show you how a bank operates. Your biggest buildings downtown are the bank. And this is why we're trying to put things in perspective here, because we don't ask enough good questions because we haven't been taught how money works. We hear these platitudes like cash is king and credit is evil, okay? And we are reacting to the words. Listen to me now. We're reacting to the words, but not the math. We're reacting to the words, but not the math. Once you understand how the money actually works, you feel a lot better about some of these decisions. So just take a look at your banks downtown. How do they operate? They're the biggest borrowers in town. If borrowing money didn't work, all the banks would fail. All the banks would fail because that's what they do. They borrow our money. And what do they do when they borrow our money? Listen, folks, if this is making sense, I need you to start putting stuff in the chat. They borrow our money. They leverage our money. In other words, they put it out to work. They make that money work for them. They lend it out in several different ways, as mortgages, as car loans, as credit cards. They make that money work. And how do they make it work? They lend it out and they charge interest And I mean amortized interest. And amortized interest makes a lot of money. They make a ton of money through amortized interest. I mean trillions. The mortgage industry alone, I'm not talking about all the other loans like credit cards and stuff. The mortgage industry alone makes trillions of dollars a year. Ken Russell says it makes sense. Thank you, Ken. Okay. The mortgage industry alone makes trillions of dollars a year. And then when you borrow money this way, you have to go into an agreement with somebody and to pay them for the use of their money. The last time you looked at your statement on money you're keeping in the bank, how much did you make with the money you're keeping in the bank? Because see, I'm building a foundation here. We will start talking about how marital couples can get together financially and make sense out of their lives. But you've got to understand some of the basic rules. And one of the basic rules is you've got to understand money, not from the aspect of a platitude that I've heard or a saying that I've heard. Anytime you get any advice about money, make people show you the numbers. Make them show you the numbers. Is that okay? Make them show. If they show you the numbers, it'll start to make sense. So here's the bank. They're borrowing money. They're making trillions of dollars a year on borrowed money. And then they pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of our money. Okay. Not only are they paying us pennies on the dollar for the use of our money, let me show you what else banking is doing. And this is another term: fractional reserve lending. Fractional reserve lending. Look that term up. Okay. Fractional reserve lending. Somebody put that in the chat. Fractional reserve lending. When you put your money in the bank, for every dollar you put in the bank, the bank can legally lend out between $8 and $10 for every dollar they have on deposit. Did you know that? Did you know that money is created through debt? Money is created through debt. Meaning, when you put $1 in the bank, they can lend out $10. So if you've got $10,000 in a bank, they can lend out $100,000. Anybody here have a mortgage? Anybody here have a mortgage? Okay. If you have a mortgage, and no matter what your mortgage is, 400,000, 500,000, 600,000, no matter what it is, no matter what your mortgage is, when you got the house, did you actually see the $500,000? Did they actually, physically put it in your hand, or did they write $400,000 or $500,000 into somebody's account? Hey, Daphne, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I didn't realize I was going to come on stage with my open mic. I apologize.
Listen,
happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you. All right. We're talking about marital money wars this morning.
Well, and that's why I tapped in. I thought this topic was pretty interesting. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about the matter.
Well, listen, what can I ask you why you think the topic is interesting?
No. I make a rule not to talk about money publicly. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a very personal thing, how people do within their marriage. And I think that, I do.
In general.
Yeah, generally speaking. Yeah. But I'm curious what you think the right thing is to do.
Okay. Well, we're going to be talking about it because here's where the problem really lies, Daphne. People have their own ideas about money, but it's based in what they've heard, or what they believe, and what they feel. It's not based in mathematical fact. That's number one. If people knew the math behind the idea, they would feel better about certain things. Okay? So we're going to get into some of that today. We're going to help people to understand how whatever your idea is about money, all right, whatever your argument is about money, did you realize that you're putting yourself in a position where you're trying to do either or? Whatever my idea is going to be the right idea because I have an intense feeling and anxiety about my idea about how money actually works. It's intense. Therefore, I feel that it's right. You know, do you know that I've met people who their parents believe that they should not borrow a dime. I mean, they actually believe that, and the kids come up with that. If you can't afford it, if you don't have the cash, don't buy it.
Yeah, I think people have thought that for a long time, but we've always been told when we were younger that debt is bad, but debt's not always bad, right?
Oh, listen. And I just pointed out before, if debt was bad, all the banks would be out of business because that's how they make their money. They make their money through borrowed money. They borrow our money. They make big money with that money, and then they pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of that money. Okay. Now, let me ask you, if one entity can do that, is it possible? I'm just saying, is it just possible, Daphne, that I can learn to do the same thing? Can I borrow the bank's money, leverage it, and get a great benefit out of that money, and then learn how to pay them pennies on the dollar for the use of their money? Is it possible that I can learn to do that?
Both possible and genius.
Come on, that's what we're talking about. So we're always looking at how we can take a page out of somebody else's book, how we can see that success leaves footprints. But the very ideas that we have about money are actually irrational when it comes down to how people with money actually make money, because they're doing exactly opposite of what we've been taught. So let me tell you something. So here's an example. Here's an example of, let me give you one example. Let's say we have a couple, they want to get a mortgage. All right. And it's tough for the one person to get a mortgage in the first place. Okay. They're trying to get this mortgage and borrowing money. They are so afraid of borrowing money. And I know that now they're going to sign something that says they owe $420,000. Okay. I got a hand up. All right. Listen, do me a favor, everybody. We're actually running everything. I, as a courtesy, I'm keeping this on Clubhouse, but we're doing everything from YouTube. Please join us on YouTube, and you can actually come to the stage on YouTube, and we're going to put the link in you from we're going to put the link so that you can join us here in StreamYard, so that you can be on the stage. So I'm going to get that up and ready for you. All right. But in the meantime, somebody wants to come to the stage here in Clubhouse. So I'll invite you to speak. AGI. All right. So a person wants to borrow money, and then the other person doesn't have any problem signing their name to a mortgage of $420,000. Okay. So let me give you an idea, something. Okay. And I need you to go along with me on this. So I'm adding this to the stage here. All right. $420,000, 360 payments. Here's the payment, $27.94.27. All right. And here is what we're going through. So we've got one person who is extremely anxious about this mortgage, $420,000. We've got one half of the couple that says, I'm okay with borrowing the money because I know I can't save $420,000 to buy this house. By the time I save this much money, the house is going to be 1.5 million. Okay. So we'll never be able to save our way to financial success. So let's borrow the money. Now, if we can borrow that money, and while we're sitting down at the closing table, people are looking at this thing two different ways. And I need you to understand, married couples, how you need to empathize with everybody in the room. The person that's okay with this, you need to empathize with them. The person that's not okay, who's feeling anxious, you need to empathize and talk about it so you can understand where everybody's coming from. And here's one of the things that you're coming from. Borrowing $420,000 at 7%, the bank wants $585,937.20 in interest. That can be overwhelming for somebody. And you need to understand that's overwhelming for that person, that they've been taught all their life that borrowing money is bad, it's evil, it's not the right thing to do, but you're okay with it because you grew up differently. But now when you take a look at the total cost of purchasing the house, it's not $420,000, it's $1,005,937.20. For most people, looking at this in their lifetime, will they be able to pay off? Do they feel they'll be able to pay off $1 million in their lifetime? Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you see where the anxiety can kick in? All right. So what if, and I'm not going to go into detail here, but what if we can actually borrow this money and pay 1/3 of the interest instead of everything that the bank is looking for? What if we could pay 1/3 of the interest instead and show you how an amortization schedule actually works and be able to pay off this loan in about 7 to 9 years? What if both parties can look at this thing and realize that it can be paid off in 7.5 years? Okay. Now, here's what it could do. The person who is anxious about borrowing money and looking at this like, I'll never pay it off before I die, okay, now is convinced they can do it in 7 years because you've shown them the numbers. They can see the numbers for themselves. And anything you want to ask me a question about to prove it, go ahead and put your question on the comment section on YouTube or Facebook here, okay? So that I can see it, and we'll go over that. Oh, by the way, I'm working everything by myself today. I was supposed to put into your, so that you could actually see it here, the link to come on stage here on YouTube. So let me go ahead and do that so we can get you into the StreamYard studio here. Okay. So let me pull this up and new window. We're going to get this for you here. All right. And then get you, so I'm going to get an invitation here. Invite guests. There we go. We're going to copy it and we're going to place that here. Boom. There it is. That's the StreamYard link I'm putting in there right now. So if you want to come into StreamYard and hang out with us so that you can ask your question directly, let's do that. So let's understand how this can be done. All right. I see Ellis in here. Thank you for being here, Ellis. I see some other folks in here. If you have a question, come on, ask your question. All right. But I need you to see this right now. And one of the things that we show people is you can be less anxious about money, a saver and a spender. You can be less anxious about money if you understand how this loan actually works and how your money can actually pay back this money faster. Okay, so watch this. When you make a mortgage payment, don't just look here. Don't just look at the $344.27 that's going to principal. If you want to see this, you can't see it here in Clubhouse. You got to come on over to YouTube. All right, I got the link at the top of the page. All right, and $2,450 going to interest. That's why it takes so long to pay this loan off. $2,450 going to interest. Does anybody want to know how the bank comes to the realization that they can charge you $2,450 in interest when all you've paid them back on your $420,000 loan, you've only paid them back $344.27 that actually pays down the loan, but they get to charge you $2,450 that goes straight to them. Come on, Daphne. Does anybody want to know how that works? Okay. I just put it in there and I'll show you. And I'll show you how they get to that number. Because they get to that number a certain way, do you know, because it's math, you can reverse it so it works for you. Did you know that? Did you know that the same amount of money they're trying to charge you is the same amount of money you don't have to pay? Now, listen, if you're a couple, all right, and couple is okay with borrowing the money, they're going to be even more okay with borrowing the money. If somebody is anxious about borrowing money, they're going to feel better about borrowing the money because now they know it's not going to cost them as much. Why? Because they understand the numbers. Let me show you why. Let's say we make this first payment here. First payment done January. You can see February's principal payment is $346.28. Okay. Person who's anxious about borrowing money. $346.28. That would be next month's principal payment. Did you know you can take some of that money out of the bank, out of your savings account? Okay. That's making 0.1% interest. Okay. You got a little bit of money saved up. You can take $346.28 of that money and apply it to principal. Okay. And then the bank would have to subtract the $344.27 on line one. And then in the same month, let's call it January, you give them an additional $346.28. That all goes to principal. They have to subtract that from your loan as well. And you're paid down to line two on your amortization schedule because they have to subtract both the 344 and the 346. They have to subtract both of those. Okay. But because you gave them that extra money in the same month, it makes it impossible for them to charge you any more interest that month. So here's what happens. You pay this amount, you give them this additional money, you just eliminated $2,447.99 in interest you never have to pay, and you're paid down to line two on your amortization schedule, and your next mortgage payment is on line three, right there. So I'm anxious about borrowing money. But I just found out, and it makes sense to me because I kept asking questions until it did make sense, that if I can give the bank back their money on a schedule that we create as a couple, we make it impossible for the bank to charge us interest, and that 30-year mortgage starts to shrink. So payment number one is now touching payment number three because we made it shrink. Payment number two is completely gone. We just turned 360 monthly payments into 359, just like that, with only $346.28. Folks, does that make sense to you? If you're watching this, does it make sense to you? And if you want, please come into StreamYard with us. I just put that in that link, and then you can ask questions directly about this live right now. today. So Daphne, so if can you see, because you're in real estate, and if you have two couples that can understand this part, do you think both of them can get closer to being on the same page if one has anxiety about borrowing and the other one doesn't?
People have this affects people's lives in a dramatic way. It's not just the money. This changes relationships, and I think that people could get on this same page like you're talking about. It would be a game changer, not just for the money, not just for the mortgage, but for relationships, really.
Exactly. I get that all the time. So we're dealing with couples here at the P.I.L.L method. Do you know that our opportunity cost calculator, our technology that does all of the work and helps people to know they can actually see into the future with their money, they dubbed this the marriage counselor. That's the nickname, the marriage counselor. Marriages have been saved through this process of helping people to understand what's going on with their money. Okay. So if we understand some of the basics, then I can show you how some other stuff works. So if you can understand this part, then what would happen? I need you to take a look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest here, just so that you can understand that. If I can prepay $346.28 and save myself $2,447.99 in interest I never have to pay, now my wheels start to turn. Okay. What else is going on here that we have never been taught in life? I'm going through life feeling anxious about money when I could have understood it from 8th grade on. Well, even 7th grade. Okay? I could have understood how this works. So let me show you this. After 1 year on this loan, I need you to start thinking about, what does it cost to manage the loan? I start out at $420,000, and in 1 year, using the bank system, I have it paid down to $415,733.59. I have it paid down to here in 1 year. What does it cost to manage this loan for 1 year? All of these interest payments added up here in column 2. If you add it all up, it costs $29,264.83 in interest to manage this loan for 1 year. To get it from $420,000 to where I owe $415,733.59, the bank wants to charge me $29,264.83 in interest to pay it down to that point. Now, that's how we've been taught, but we've never been shown the other side so that we can feel less anxious. All right? Are you guys getting me here? Are you guys getting me here? All right? So, anybody got any questions about that? I wish I could get more people to come over here so they can actually see the numbers, okay? So, here's what you need to understand. If you ask the question, how much does it cost to pay the loan down to right here, then we can come up with some different ideas. All right. So what about this? What about this, Daphne? What about this? Let me put a calculator on the screen so that we can understand what's really going on. All right. So to pay this loan down from $420,000 to $415,733.59, doing it the bank's way, then I'm giving them $344, $340, up to $367. I'm paying down my loan with $300 payments. No, Don. No, you're not. No, you're giving the bank $27.94.27. Yeah, that's what I'm paying out, but that's not what's going to my loan. What's going to my loan is only $300 payments. That's what's going to my loan. Yeah, that part. Okay. So if I add all of this up, it comes to $4,266.41. It cost me $29,000 to pay my loan down by $4,266.41 to get it where I owe $415,733.59. If you don't believe me, we're going to do the math. So I start out at 420,000. Okay, people who are anxious about money, 420,000. So now we're going to subtract 4,266.41 because we paid that towards the loan, but we did it over 12 months. Okay, so let's subtract 4,266.41. There we go. It comes to 415,733.59. That's exactly what I have here on line 12. Ladies and gentlemen who are watching us online, I mean, we got people all over the country and possibly in other countries watching this right now. Even if you're watching the replay right now, here's my question to you. Do I have to give them the $4,266.41 in 12 monthly installments? If I had it, I'm not saying that you should have it. I'm just saying if you had it, if you had the money, could you give this $4,266.41 in the first month, pay it all at one time instead of over 12 months? Could you do that if you had it? Put a yes or a no in the chat. Could you pay this all at one time if you had it? So if you did do that, the bank would have to subtract the $4,266.41 in the first month. You'd be paid down to the $415,733.59 in 1 month, and you would skip all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12. You would save over almost $29,000 in interest. Oh, Don, I don't believe that. I don't, but you know, I've had people in this very room kick me off the stage that says that is not true. Can I prove it to you? Remember, for couples to get together on money, they need to understand how the money works. That way they can both agree on what is happening, so they're not basing their thoughts about money or their choices about money in irrational fears. If you don't understand the math, then your fear is irrational. How do we respect your fear, and how do we help you to see past the fear and understand how money actually works? Let me show you. So what we're going to do here is pull up another amortization schedule. All right. And we're going to duplicate what we have here. All right. So we're going to duplicate this amortization schedule. Okay. It's been duplicated. I want to duplicate the tab. There we go. So we just duplicated this tab. So now what we're going to do is take a look at how much we owe now. We paid $4,266.41 in interest, in principal, all in 1 month instead of over 12 months. We now owe $415,733.59. Did you realize that once you get an amortization schedule and if you pay it in your own timing, you break the bank schedule, you just destroyed this amortization schedule and you need a new one. Did you know that? Anytime you pay even $1 or a dime more than you have been scheduled to pay, you destroy the whole amortization schedule. All the numbers are now off and you need a new one. So let's do that. Let's create a new one. So we now owe $415,733.59. We're going to copy that. We're going to put it over here in what we owe now. This is what I owe now. Okay. I'm going to paste it in there. We're going to remove the comma because the program doesn't like the comma. All right. Our payment is still the same. The interest rate is still the same, but we're going to take out the number of payments because we paid off a bunch right now. We've just paid off 12. We just paid off 12 months worth right now. So let's do the new calculation. Here's the new calculation. All right. Let's get rid of these ads here because they're distracting me. All right. So we have 415,000 now because we paid that money up front. Look how many payments we have now. How many payments do we have left, ladies and gentlemen? We started out with 360. We gave the bank a year's worth of principal. We gave them this much money at one time. We're paid down to here in 1 month. Look how many payments we have left. 348 payments left. In 1 month, you just took away 12 payments. Boom. In 1 month. Let me show you what else just happened. How much interest do we have left to pay? We're down to 556,672.37. That's how much interest we have left to pay. Versus when we first started, we have 585,000. So let's see what the difference is. Okay. Did we save time? Yes, we knocked off a whole year because we just proved that we have 12. We went from 360 payments to 348 payments in just 1 month. Has that been proven to you? That's a yes or a no. Has that been proven? I think it has. Okay. So if we can do that, let's take a look at how much money we in interest we owed from the very beginning, which is 358,000. I'm sorry, 585,000, 585,000. 937.20, 20 cents. Don't forget about the 20 cents, because if you don't give the bank the 20 cents, they can come get your house. Do you realize that? For 20 cents, pay them all the money that you owe them. All right. And we're going to show you how to pay a lot less. All right. So here's what we're going to take a look at. This is how much interest we owe from the beginning. That's the contract you signed. But when you sign a contract, when you sign this contract, couples, the amount of interest that the bank wants is a suggestion. It's not a law. It's a suggestion. It's not a law. It's suggesting that if you keep our money for 30 years, you're going to pay this. But what if you don't keep their money for 30 years? So they're suggesting to you that you keep the loan for 30 years and pay them all of this interest. It's a suggestion. It's not a law. It's not a rule. So now you start to feel better because you're understanding what's really going on behind the scenes. I don't have to give them all of that money. So now we're going to take how much money you're suggesting I pay you. All right, bank. And now because I gave you this money all up front, I now owe $556,000 in interest. So we're going to subtract that. So it is 5 subtract 556,000, because that's what we owe now, 672.37 equals 29,264.83. Can I go back here and show you something? Isn't this exactly, let me pull that back up. Isn't this exactly how much money they wanted in the first year by paying it their way? Daphne, what do you think about that? The same amount of money that the bank wants in the first year, I don't have to pay them now because I now know the cheat code, how to give them their money back and not give them all of that interest. So if I have a couple here, one is anxious about all of this money. Are we now showing that you can now cut serious time off a loan and save a ton of interest you never have to pay? Huh. So Don, what else is going on with this thing? What else is going on? Does everybody understand this part? Does anybody not understand this part? Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to get into it just a little bit deeper. Now that we have some background of prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity, for spouses to get along financially, they have to understand where their point of view came from and figure out, is it a rational or irrational fear? Do I have the math to back up what I'm feeling and understanding about money? Or have I just heard it for years and now I'm reacting to words instead of what I should be reacting to is the math? Does that make sense? So let me go ahead and pull up something else for us today. All right. So we can take a look a little deeper into this whole thing of marital money wars and how to get along. Now, if you have a question for me that I can handle for you, let's just say you're asking for someone else. I'm asking for a friend. You're not asking for you. I'm asking for a friend. Ask me your financial question where you know that there are couples that are disagreeing about money. And let's see if we can find a solution for you so that both ideas can exist in the same family together and both feel satisfied. Okay? So go ahead. Let's put that out there. Let's get some questions going so that we can talk about it. Okay? So now let's take a look at what's going on with handling how the money actually works. Can I show you? Can I show you this right here? Okay. So we're going to pull this over here. We're going to add this. We're going to add this to the mix. Okay. This is our opportunity cost calculator. This helps us to understand how our money works. Okay. So let me show you something here. So we're going to reset this account. And we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to reset it so that we can, if you can actually see what's going on, it helps. It can help you. Okay. So now I have, let me see, did I want that example? Let me see if I get a different example here. Reset account. Let me see here. Checking savings method. Let me take a look at this one. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, I like this one. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this. So, this is John and Rebecca Jones. They don't always agree on money. But when they start putting everything into this account, let me show you what they're looking at. Let me show you what they're looking at. And we'll take a look at several different scenarios here. They have $2,500 in their checking account. They've got $10,000 in their savings account. Okay. They owe $8,000 on their Discover card, and it's an 18% card. Already somebody's feeling anxious. We owe $8,000 on an 18% credit card. They have a student loan of $30,000 at 6.7%. Okay. They've got a truck loan of $15,000 at 3.75% and a motorcycle. Yeah, they didn't agree on getting the motorcycle either, but somebody got a motorcycle. Okay. Against, and then borrowed the money for the motorcycle at 10%. Okay. So there we are. And then they've got a mortgage of $305,000. All right. At 3.25%. Here's the payment, $1,722.38. Let's take a look at where they are on this mortgage. Oh, look here. Let's see here. Oh, it's a brand new mortgage, 360 months. That's 30 years. So here's what I know from the very beginning. John and Rebecca Jones, who didn't always agree with on money and how to spend it and how to leverage it, got coaching on how money actually works. And now they can see, because it's been proven to them, that they can save $142,328 in interest they never have to pay. They know that up front. It's been proven to them. So now they're both okay with saving $142,000 on the debt that they already have. And with the debt that they already have, okay, let's go back and take a look at it. Car loan, Discover card, student loan, truck loan, Yamaha motorcycle, and the mortgage, they can see at a glance how much money they owe. And we're going to change that. We're going to change this window to principal remaining, $368,800. $368,800. That's how much they owe. For some people, that's an overwhelming amount of money and the interest that they owe on that money. But if you can know this, because of the $142,000 in interest we will not pay, we'll be able to pay off every single one of these debts and be done in 7.4 years. Now, you tell me, ladies and gentlemen, if you knew this to be true, and you actually believed it, because a company took you through the numbers and showed you that the numbers are accurate. And not only that, get this, you can have a great lifestyle while you're doing it. You can still go on vacation. You can still drive what you want to drive. You can still go out to dinner. You can still have a great lifestyle, because guess what? We're going to plug into the system how much money you want to spend on you, just to spend it and still get out of debt in a fantastic amount of time and save a fantastic amount of interest. Well, Don, I see that what you're doing here. I see that I can be out of debt in 7.4 years, but it goes against everything that I've ever been taught. In fact, Dave Ramsey's talking about, I can't do those things until the debt is paid off. I can't live this kind of life until the debt is paid off. Well, Dave Ramsey says that, but he never showed you the math. Never showed you the math. Let me show you here what's going on with showing you the math. So let's take a look at the budget that we're working with. Okay, they both are working. They have a biweekly income of $1,750 here. That's Rebecca. John has a biweekly income of $2,100. All right, and they've got all of their expenses right here. It says called everything else. All of their expenses for living is right in here. I made it this way so that I don't have to right now point out that this much goes to food, this much goes to electricity, this much goes to insurance. They put all of their expenses right here, okay? So I can make it simple. I do recommend that you itemize all of your expenses, though. Know how much exactly you're paying for gasoline, know exactly how much you're doing. You're paying for each thing because it matters. But for simplicity's sake, they're paying all of this. Now, let's just say that they in this money, they've said, we want to spend $400 a month on ourselves. $400 a month on ourselves. Okay. So now we're going to take a look and say, and once we do that, here's their income, here are their monthly expenses, and here's how much money is left over after all the bills are paid. And they've decided they want to also spend $400 a month on themselves and not have to account for it. They just want to spend it. Okay. Doesn't matter on what they want to spend it on. They're free to spend it. Okay. So now that's where we are. So now let's just say one is a saver and one is a spender, and says, you know what? $400 isn't enough. Okay, $400 isn't enough. I want $400 a piece. I want you to have $400 and I want me to have $400. So that's going to cause anxiety for someone because they don't know what that means long term. If we take another $400 out of our budget, what does that mean? But what if they could come to an agreement? Let's see what that, if we absolutely knew what an extra $400 out of our budget would do, and we're both okay with what it does, then can we do it? But if we don't like what it does, can we agree to modify and pick a new number other than a new $400? You see, now you're negotiating, but you're negotiating because you have a program that shows you the math. Good morning, Michelle. I see you there. Okay. I see you, Miss Nettles. Good morning to you. She's saying good morning, Don. Okay. She's watching us on YouTube. All right. So let's take a look here. Okay. I'll put that on the screen. There we go. Good morning. Good morning to you. So now let's go into the budget. Let's go into the budget and see if we can make a change here. All right. So if we decided that we would edit this and tell the program, I want to spend, this is all the money we want to spend in a month. I want to increase this by another $400 and see what it does. So that would be $37.82.27. Do we have an agreement on that? So I can say, okay, let's change this to 37. That's an additional $400. Okay. And when we tell the program this is what we want to do, here's what we come up with. I can be out of debt in 8.2 years. And the interest savings is $136,000. And now they can come together and say, you know what? We were going to be out of debt in 7.5 years. All right. But can we live life to the full right now and start living a little better and get out of debt in 8.2 years instead of 7.5? Now you have something to negotiate with. All right. Does this make sense, everybody? If you know what's happening, you can do that. Well, let's say here, you know what? I kind of like that. And then the person who has said, you know, I want to go into retirement. I think I want to retire a little bit earlier. So the $400 extra to spend each month is okay. But you know what? I think now that I'm looking at it, I think I want to go back to where we were. I want to go back to spending $3,300 a month. And we'll both get $200 a month to spend because I kind of like the old numbers. Okay. So they can change it back and go back to 7.4, just like that. Let's just say one of the things that we want to do, and now I don't always agree with this, but let's just say with our program here, we're going to go into preferences. How much money are we keeping on the sideline? How much money are we keeping on the sideline just not to spend? So we're keeping in the bank $7,500. That's $7,500. I see a hand up. Okay. I usually don't stay in Clubhouse this long, but I see a hand up. Okay. Okay. I guess they didn't want to come up. All right. So I would prefer that if you wanted to talk, come and talk to us on YouTube. But anyway, Grand Rising. I see you, King Thoy. I see you. All right. All right. Grand Rising to you guys. I see you. I see you. All right. Happy Easter to everybody. All right. Earl Bender Jr. Okay. All right. I see you. So this couple is saying not only can they spend money as they choose to and know what's going to happen, they've told the program, I want to keep $7,500 back just for emergencies. Do you know you can play around with this number too? Yeah. So let's take a look at where we were. Okay. Let's take a look at where we were. We're at 7.4 years to pay off. $142,000 in interest savings that we don't have to pay the bank, because this is what makes everything work. So we've got one person that's been told we should have more money in savings. We should have more money in savings than just $7,500. Do you know you can play around with this and instantly know what's going on just by playing around with it? Let's just take a look here. We don't want, I'm just going to add it to, I'm just going to make it $27,000. We went from 7,500 to 27,500. I want you to see what happens to us long term if we decided we want to keep $27,000 in savings instead of $7,500 in savings. And we're going to save it to the program. The program recalculates instantly, and you don't have to argue for a long time. Now you know, instead of 7.4 years, you can be out of debt in 7.9 years. Lord have mercy. Because there's no arguing, we're plugging in the numbers and we're seeing what happens, and then you can agree on the results. If you don't like the results, then you can modify what you want to do and come up with a result here that you both can agree on between savers and spenders. And things start to work out better in the marriage. We stop warring with one another and start agreeing with one another on what we want out of the financial relationship, because we can see the end from the beginning. Does this make sense, everybody? Okay. I want you to understand that, because once you understand how amortization schedules actually work, you could actually save that kind of money, and it doesn't hurt your long-term plans that much. Okay. From 7.4 to 7.9. Can I show you something crazy? Let me show you something crazy. Okay. What if it was 57,000? Instead of 57,500 now, we're going to save that. 57,500, it's still 8.6. Just a little more than a year more. Do you see what's happening here? By plugging in the numbers, there's no need to argue. Let's plug in the numbers. Let's find out what works for us. All right, let's go back to, we can take that out. Let's take that out, $7,500. Okay, let's go back to that. $7,500. Let me show you how this thing works. All right, so that we can get along. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is we've got money coming in. John gets paid $2,100. And when we do that, Daphne, we're clicking on execute. If y'all want to see this, y'all better come on over to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Start sharing this with your friends, okay? Because we've got marriages that are breaking up over what they think is going to happen with their money when they can know what is happening with their money, okay? So now we can tell the program that we made our $2,100 that month by just clicking on execute. That's it. And the program knows, okay? The program knows that we added $2,700 to the checking account, because the checking account in the program, let me click here. The checking account in the program has 4,600 and a penny, because you told it. You told it you got an extra $2,700 because that $2,700 was direct deposited into your bank. So the program knows that you have $4,600 and a penny in your savings account and your checking account, and $10,000 in your savings account. The program knows that. Based on that, and you're just telling the program what you need. Here's what the program does. It does the math and says, do you know what? In your checking account, you see these arrows? Let's see what that says. It says suggested strategic accumulation transfer. What's an accumulation transfer? We're going to transfer money to your savings account. We're going to accumulate a certain amount of money according to the AI system that is embedded in our program, according to AI, put that money in your savings account because you don't need that money for anything else. And you've already told the program all the bills you need to pay, number one, and your lifestyle budget is one of those bills. How much you just want to spend on you to enjoy life. Okay? All of that's in there. And the program is saying, out of that money that you're bringing in, take $4,100 and a penny, no more and no less, and put it in your savings account and wait. So what happens after that? Rebecca gets a paycheck. We pay the mortgage. Okay? They pay their mortgage on the 12th. Why do they pay their mortgage on the 12th instead of on the 1st? Okay? Why do they do that? Here's why they do that. Because even with this program, oh Lord, you can figure out what is the best day to pay your mortgage by playing around with it. You can put in, I pay my mortgage on the 1st, I pay it on the 3rd, I pay it on the 4th, I pay it on the 5th. You can play around with it and you can actually see which day works best for you to pay your mortgage and save more interest. They chose the 12th, okay? But so they chose it to, they pay it on the 12th, all right? And then the program says, okay, John gets another paycheck. And look what the program says to do. Take money out of your checking account and put this into savings, $624.04. We're going to put that in. We're going to accumulate money over and above the $7,500 they want to keep in savings at all times. This is over and above the $7,500. Okay? Then the program says, you know what? Because you owe $8,000 on the Discover card, the program says this is the debt we're going to attack first. Take money out of savings and apply it to Discover. Do you know when this happens for the first time for P.I.L.L method clients, most of them have never put this kind of money on a credit card before. Can I help you with understanding this? I got King Thoy in here. He says, we gotta get you on fan base, he says. Okay, what are you saying, King? He says, we got to get you on fan base, Ice, because people have this topic without the proper knowledge. All right, King Thoy, you can invite me over to your people. I'll be glad to share this on fan base. Okay, so here's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. When you take money out of savings, people like to put this money in savings. This is $7,000 above what they have told the program to keep. So now we have nearly $15,000 in savings. $15,000 in savings. People like to see that. But now you have to take the money out of savings and apply it to the debt. Okay? And it feels like I don't have $7,000 anymore. I have $15,000 and I feel good about that. But if I put that $7,000 on the credit card all at once, I feel bad because now I don't have the cash in the bank. Can I show you something here? Here's a new word for you. Fungibility. Fungibility. Okay. What is fungibility? Okay, look it up. These words, this is what you need to figure out here. Fungibility is the ability of a good or asset to be interchanged with other individual goods or assets of the same type. Fungible assets simplify the exchange of trade process because fungibility implies equal value between the assets. Can I break this down for you a different way, looking at the program? So they have about $15,000 in savings right now, and the program says take $7,000 out of here and put it on the debt. So here's what I'm asking you. If they take that $7,224 out of the bank and put it on the credit card, do they still have that $7,224 to spend? Yes or no? Do they still have just about $15,000 available to them, but they have 7,200 over here and 7,500 over here. Isn't that still the same amount of money available to spend? But we just put it over here so that we can cut the interest that the bank is charging us, because it certainly isn't making a lot of money sitting it in the bank account looking at it. But we still have we still have the same amount of money available to us. Does that make sense? The idea of fungibility, when we understand it, it calms the anxiety. Okay, so we're going to take the $7,200 out and put it over here. Let me show you what happens when we do that. This will help. This will help. The program will tell you, because people don't want to take money out of the savings account because they like looking at it. Let me show you something. If you make minimum payments on that card so that you will naturally pay off $7,224.05, if you make minimum payments, do you realize it will cost you $10,000 in interest? Let me make this just a little bit bigger. Okay. So if I pay them all at once, that means I don't have to pay Discover Card $10,851 in interest. Do you see the benefit of knowing what happens when you do something? If both spouses know that by putting the $7,000 on the credit card is going to save us $10,000 in interest we don't have to pay, then it becomes clear. How long would that money have to stay in the bank account to make $10,851? What, the rest of your life? 2 or 3 pennies a month? Come on. When we know, it starts to make sense. We feel better about it. I can take my $7,200 over here. I can put it on the credit card and not give Discover $10,000, but I still have the money available to me if an emergency pops up. Look at here. And if the program is paying off debt like this, man, if I have an emergency, if I want to do some stuff, I know how long it's going to take me to get out of the debt. It's going to be fantastic, because I see what's happening. Now, what else is happening? So if we did that, look what happens here. What is that? And we put that money on the credit card, and we still pay all of our bills, plus our budget for lifestyle. Our lifestyle budget is in the $3,300 that we need to spend. Okay. So what happens next is the program starts the process all over again. Getting your income in, paying the mortgage, putting money in savings, and paying minimum payments on all the loans, putting minimum payments on the loan, putting your money away. Oh, and then the program says, let's take out for next month, let's take out another $688 and let's finish paying off that Discover card, right? Putting this much on, $688 saves us another $447 in interest. It is important to know, if I make a financial move, what am I getting for it? If you can't answer that question, folks, that's why people argue about money, because they can't see the other person's point of view, because neither person knows what is going to be the end result if we take option 1 for one spouse or option 2 the other spouse. What is going to be the end result of taking both options? The answer to the question is, I don't know. We don't know. So it becomes an intense argument only because, now catch this, it becomes an intense argument because the anxiety becomes overwhelming, and the anxiety that I'm feeling looks like anger to my spouse. The anxiety that I'm feeling, I'm trying to help you to understand what I'm feeling, but it comes across as anger. And then the response is, I'm feeling that. I'm anxious about doing this thing. And my response comes across as anger. And now we have both people angry and warring against each other and not finding a solution. Folks, does this make sense to you? So what if we can put these things in? Can somebody come up with another scenario? Another scenario. We're talking about savings. What if I want to invest in something? Do you know, if I want to invest, the program tells me how much to pay on something and how and what not to do. Can I show you something else? Let me give you an example of what would happen over about 3 months using this program. And we'll show you, but I can take out, instead of clicking on each thing individually, all right? Instead of clicking on each thing individually, we're going to go through here and show you month after month after month. And the program is going to start adding up interest savings and telling you what you can and how you can see what's happening month after month after month. I want to show you that right after our break. I got to take a break here. I've been going 1 hour and 16 minutes without a break. So I got to take a quick break. We're going to find somebody else who has had anxiety. And I'm going to show you what happens when you help another person who has anxiety. All right. Do something for that person, even though you don't have the same anxiety. Okay. I'm going to show you a video of Dr. Eric Thomas, where, he can command up to $150,000 of speaking engagement. He makes an incredible income. And he wasn't worried about that income, but his wife was saying, what happens if you stop making all that money? Just like my wife says, people come on here and they watch me on the videos all the time. And when they actually talk to me on the phone, they say, oh, wow, I actually get to talk to you. And I tell my wife that, and I said, hey, honey, I got to talk to somebody that, that's a fan of the show, and they were really excited to talk to me. And she says, yeah, take out the garbage. She's not impressed. So please, the fans that E.T. has, E.T. the hip hop preacher, his wife was saying, yeah, you got fans now, but what happens if you lose those fans? So E.T. says, listen, let me show you something here, honey. We're going to go through here. Let me pull up his video, and we're going to play this for you. We're going to take a quick break. And then we're going to get back to here. Here is his video.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you going to keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm going to keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't got to do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
You see, folks, it was getting on her nerves, not his. She says, how long are you going to keep making that money? He says, forever. She said, yeah, well, just in case you don't, I'm going to keep my license up. Do you see the two ideas about money? Okay. Now, he's okay with the mortgage as it is. He's okay with his ability to keep making money for a long time. She is worried about paying the mortgage off, even though he makes this kind of money. She sees how much the money is stacking up. She wants to know, when can we pay this? When can we pay this mortgage off? Okay, Jonna, don't be laughing at me. Don't be laughing at her, brother. Okay. So here's the dynamic, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the dynamic. they got E.T., the hip hop preacher, the number one motivational speaker in the world. And his wife, she loves the fact that he's the number one motivational speaker in the world, but she's asking questions that matter to her. Asking questions that matter to her. When are we going to get this mortgage done? E.T., the hip hop preacher. Okay. Are you sure you're going to keep making this kind of money? Yeah, I'm not letting go of my nursing license because anything could happen. Do you see what's happening? But so what did he do? Did he argue with her? It says, listen, we could pay that mortgage off at any time. Did he argue with her? He says, no, let's find a way to get this done. Gets introduced to the P.I.L.L method and understands there's something that he wanted to do. You see, he knew that his money was better spent with investing. What he didn't know is what his benefit would be for prepaying the principal on the mortgage. When he saw the benefit of prepaying all the money that he's going to save, do you know how we teach that? On the screen here, $142,000 in interest saved can be invested to do other things. So we got two people on seemingly having different ideas about money coming together in the same program, but they have two different agendas. But they're working together now with two different agendas. And what are those? She's getting the feeling of security because the mortgage is paid off. What is E.T. getting out of it? He gets out of the fact that number one, that he's pleasing his wife. Happy wife, happy life. Okay. Number one, he's getting the idea that he's pleasing his wife. And number two, he's getting this. So let me show you this. He knows that if I spend this money over here on interest, I can't also invest it. So when we could show him going into net worth, okay, going into net worth here. And if you want to see this, you want to come into YouTube so you can see these numbers. In our program, we're going to go over to and click on wealth accumulation. Okay, wealth accumulation. So now that he's got that mortgage paid off, he can take that same amount of money that he didn't pay on interest and invest it somewhere else. And he starts to invest it. And in the first year, he could be out of debt. Let's say this is him. He's out of debt in 2031. Okay, 7.5 years from now. Start investing that money. And in the first year out of debt, look at this. It's $42,000. Second year, $98,000. Third year, $100,000. Taking that money and investing it, all right? Investing it in compound interest. So what was 2024? And the bank wanted him to be and wanted these folks to be out of debt, not in 2031, but wanted them to be out of debt in 30 years from now, 2054. So now, instead of being out of debt in 2054, let's see where they would be by investing that money that was going to the bank in interest instead of giving it to them. You can't also, this is an opportunity cost question, and I need you to write that down. Opportunity cost. And we're going to go over what that means. Opportunity cost. If I spend the money on interest, I can't also invest the money. But what if I could get the house, say, and not give the bank all of that interest and then invest that interest? So by 2054, let's see where we would be. 2040, 2043, 2050, 2054. Taking the money, look at here, Lord have mercy. Taking the money that he didn't give the bank. Sometimes I get a little emotional about this because most people don't understand what we're doing here, what they're missing out on. Instead of arguing, they both found something they can both agree on in the same program and still get what they want out of it. He's saying she gets security. He's saying I can take the interest that I'm not paying to the bank and invest it. And by the time I was supposed to be out of debt, we can turn that money into $1,335,000 additional dollars. And ladies and gentlemen, watch this part. That's only at 1% return on the money. The average person is averaging right now a return on their money 6 to 7%. This is 1% return on the money, $1,335,787.32. By the time he was going to pay off he was going to pay the loan off whenever, just by paying the minimum payments. He was taking his extra money and investing it. He didn't know the benefit of paying the mortgage off. Strategically, letting the program do that. Does that make sense to you? So if you want to do what many others on this program are watching right now, we've got clients that are watching this right now. Okay. And if you want to know what ET did, let's do this. Let me show you this. ET, we got fungibility. All right. We looked that up, and then we're going to duplicate this tab, and now we're going to look up opportunity cost. Okay, this is what he did. Okay, opportunity cost. What does it mean? Opportunity cost. Okay, the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. He was giving up an extra like $1.5 million by not paying off the mortgage. That's the opportunity cost. He was taught to see that. And so he's saying, I can help her and get what I wanted in the first place because now I understand the numbers better. Listen, folks, just because you're expert in one area doesn't mean that you're expert in all other areas. And for those people who watch our videos, who think they understand what we're doing here, please don't think that, because I'm not gleaning this information from other places on the internet. We didn't get this from YouTube University. The P.I.L.L method was invented here. Nobody else teaches that but us. The P.I.L.L method is copyrighted by me. I own the copyright to the P.I.L.L method. What about the registered trademark? I own the registration to the trademark, the P.I.L.L method. I own that. But where did the knowledge come from? Not from the internet, not from somebody else's book. Here's where the knowledge came from. I have Asperger's or autism spectrum disorder. There's absolutely no reason for me to know what I know about finances. My brain is wired this way. So when I look at an amortization schedule, I see things in pictures and patterns. I'm here to tell you that is a gift from God that you're getting today. He gave it to me. I'm giving it to you. Listen, I didn't go to school for this. When I was in school, I didn't even like numbers. Listen, math was not my strong suit. That should prove it to everybody that what you're getting is outside of me. It doesn't come from me. This information is not coming from me. It's coming through me. Using somebody who doesn't know math very well to teach these concepts should be proof enough that there is a God. I'm just telling you. Because no, I'm not the math guy. Never have been. But I get this. This is my thing. Helping people to understand how loans actually work, how they can get together financially, how to show people how they can get along. All right. And understanding these terms, opportunity costs, understanding fungibility, understanding these things, because I did read some books on economics. Okay, I did read that. So, but the idea of the P.I.L.L method and teaching people how amortization works, none of this is taught at any level of financial education. So where did I get it? I got it from the person who knows everything. He's teaching me, so I'm teaching you. Bottom line. So when people get on our program, they don't just get the technology. They don't just get the AI. They get coaching that goes along with it so you can understand it better, so we can optimize your individual situation. How do we do that? You go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, right here, right underneath E.T. the hip hop preacher, Dr. Eric Thomas. Scroll down underneath his picture and click on Get a Savings and Earnings Report. If you are battling it out today, if you're battling, if you're not getting along financially, even if you're suffering in silence, you can get along a lot better financially if you had some guidance and a tool so that you can know the result from the beginning. You can know the end at the beginning. You can know if we choose this way or that way, how can we both get what we want out of this situation and still come out in a superior financial position? Get a savings and earnings report. Click on that and get a free savings and earnings report. Listen, is there any reason why, if you have a mortgage, if you have student loans, if you have credit cards, John and Rebecca Jones here. Okay, let's go back. I need you to understand where they are in this thing. John and Rebecca Jones have a car loan, a Discover card, a student loan, a truck loan, a motorcycle, and a mortgage, all going to be paid off in 7.4 years. And if they want to know what is the exact date they could be out of debt, payoff date, right there, May 26, 2031. There you go. There you are. They can know the exact date. If you want to know your exact payoff date, how much interest you could save, and how that interest can be turned into generational wealth for your family, get a savings and earnings report. They come in the same report. Fill this out today. It comes in 2 phases. This is the form. All right, it's in 2 steps. Fill out this first part. Get your email verified. Once it's verified, you click on that thing to verify the email. You'll get a link to the second part. Put the financial information that we're looking for so that we can put together for you a 2-page report that's free. And you can know the month, day, and year you're debt free, and how much interest you can save, and how much potential money you can make with the money that you're no longer giving the bank. And folks, financially, your marriage will be better. Financially, I don't know about everything else, but financially, you can listen. We have helped thousands of couples see their money differently and feel better about it just because of this program. Because people can see what's happening. Get that. Not only that, folks, but you can also, let's go back to here. You want to start teaching your children this so they don't have to go through the pain and anxiety of learning finances the wrong way. You can start teaching them now, and you can use this as a as a teaching tool. It's my book right here, and the same ice10k.com. Go down and click on buy my book. It takes you straight to Amazon. Okay, and then you can buy the book. All right, you could do that. So Get the book, read the book, start teaching your children, start teaching your grandchildren, start teaching your nieces and nephews, start teaching the younger generations how money actually works. Since 1936, we have been lending this way. Since 1936, we have not had financial education the way it should have been done in our school systems at any level of education, even to the graduate level in business school. They don't know what I've taught you today. So don't even bother going to your accountant, to your financial planner, to your bank, and ask them about these questions today. Do them a favor and give and share the link to this with them so that they can learn it the right way. Because I guarantee you they don't know. Why? Because they didn't get the information from the P.I.L.L method. This information isn't widely known. If they didn't get it from my book, if they didn't get it from these broadcasts, they didn't get it because this is not taught in school. You know, I'm not bragging here. I'm just telling the truth. I teach this to every financial person you can think of, every type of financial person you can think of. We teach the P.I.L.L method to, if they're open to learn, because they didn't get it anywhere else. And if you're in real estate, you know that I'm telling the truth. If you're in mortgages, you know I'm telling the truth. If you are a CPA, an accountant, a bookkeeper, if you have a terminal degree, if you have a doctorate in business from the best business school in America, you didn't get this. And you know you didn't. That's why our business is doing very well. So go ahead and get that for free today. Let's get yourself started. Okay. So now get the book. And not only that, I need your help. I need your help. Help me help others. Become an affiliate. Click here to become an affiliate. Fill out your name. It takes about 15 seconds. Fill out your full name, and then put your phone number in, put your email in, and just tell us how you want to get paid. And affiliates get paid anywhere from $300 to $3,000 a month just by sharing the YouTube channel. Share the YouTube channel, and you'll be okay. And then we'll show you what to do after that. Okay, let's get back here. Let's get back to this thing here. I need you to see some other things about what's going on. I'm going to take you through, I promise to take you through some months here. So let me minimize this so we can get it fully on the screen. So we're going to, instead of clicking on these one by one, okay, I'm going to take out the entire month. We're going to execute every line in our budget at one time, and we're going to see what happens. So when we click on execute multiples, I can do the whole thing at one time. All right. So when we execute that, all of January is now gone. We've gone through all of January. We paid all the bills. We moved all the money. The program told us to put money in savings and then take the money out of savings and apply it to the debt the right way. And at that point, look here. We've already saved $10,851 in interest. So people have asked me, Don, how much does your program cost? How much interest are you already paying the bank that you don't need to pay? There is no cost to our program. What do you mean, Don, there is no cost? If the benefit that we're providing outweighs what we're charging, there is no cost to you. If we can cut your interest cost by $150,000 and we get a small piece of that, the money that we get is the money you would have paid the bank anyway. And most people save enough money in interest in the first 3 to 5 months to more than pay for their lifetime program. Let's focus on how much interest you can save. That is the whole forest. Instead of, I can't see the forest for the tree because I don't want to pay for a system that can save me this kind of money. I can't see the forest for the trees because I got my face right here. take some of that money that you would have given to the bank, get this system, and then start building wealth with understanding how money actually works. And the money that you're saving from interest, this is how your bank pays for this program, not you. Talk to us about it. We'll show you what's happening. So now we're in February. All right. So now what is the bank? What is the program doing in February? We're paying our bills. We are putting money away in savings here, another $711.04, because we have to build up our stash again. We got to build up our stash. And then program says, now let's pay off this credit card. So now we're going to take this and we're going to execute the entire month of February here. Okay. And we're going to execute multiples. We're going to do everything all at one time. Okay. And then execute that. So now February is gone. We're up to $11,298 in interest we've already saved because we don't have to pay that. We don't have to pay that debt the way that the bank said to pay it. If we had paid that debt the way the bank had said to pay it, it would have cost us an extra $11,298. Now we don't have to pay that. When this number matches this number, when the actual interest saved matches the potential interest saved, you're out of debt, and we can start talking about how to invest. In fact, the program is looking for the least amount of money to put on debt at any given time. If you have more money available, don't put it towards paying off debt. I'll say that again. The program is always looking for the least amount of money. The AI system is looking for the least amount of money to prepay your debt to save the maximum amount of interest per dollar. Okay. And then any extra money that you may have, don't also put that on the debt. Take that money and invest it. Start investing it early in compound interest over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. However much of your work life you have left, start putting that money into compound interest now. So now that is another term, which is critical point analysis. Critical point analysis. What does that term mean, Don? Critical point analysis. Let's see. CRITIAL. POINT. Critical point analysis. AN. Okay. Critical point analysis. Here it is. What does that mean? A critical point of a continuous function is a point at which the derivative of 0 is undefined. Critical points are the points on a graph where the function's rate of change is altered. What does that mean? Okay, let's break it down. Okay, somebody had to teach me this part. Where the rate of change is altered. So there is a point where when you start putting money towards savings, you start saving more and more and more interest per dollar. When you get to the point where you put one more penny on, the amount of interest that you start to save per dollar starts to go back the other way. It starts to go down. There's a point at which more is too much. So the program is looking for the right amount of money to the penny. What is that point at which it can get you right up to the apex of interest saved per dollar? Don't put any more money on, because the amount of money that you can save per dollar starts to go back the other way, starts to go down. It's the law of diminished return. Critical point analysis keeps you from breaking the law of diminished return, meaning that once you do anything extra, your returns start to diminish. They no longer increase. Our AI system does all of that for you and more. If you think you can do critical point analysis in your head, oh no, it is millions of calculations that get you there. Now, what do you mean, Don? Well, this is what I mean. You have a certain amount of money to spend. You have a certain amount of debt. Here's what computers do. Here's what AI does. AI and it built into our computers says, okay, we got so much money to work with. How much interest can we save with a penny on every day? So it takes this one penny and moves it on every day. Then takes 2 pennies, then 3 pennies, then 4 pennies. Computers aren't smart. They're just fast. They're not smart. They're just fast. So when you give them that problem, they take a look at what you have to work with, and they look at all of the different variables, all of the money, on all of the debt, on all of the days. And we're looking for the right amount of money in the right month, on the right day of the month, and the right loan to maximize interest savings. And they do one problem at a time, millions of problems in just a few seconds. And with that, it comes up with exactly the right amount to the penny and the right month on the right day of the month on the right loan. There you go. That's how computers work. If you think because I'm talking about it here and we can come up with it so fast, it ain't a lot of work, I can do it on my own, the best you can do, the best you can do is just guess. And this is why next week, here are some of the things we're going to be talking about next week. This is huge. Next Sunday, you want to be here because there are a lot of people that call me and says, is this like velocity banking? Do you know how many people are calling us right now? Velocity banking. This is velocity banking gone wrong. That's what we're going to be talking about next Sunday. Velocity banking gone wrong. And we're going to explain what it is. And some of you know what it is because you've seen it on YouTube. And we're going to explain to you why it goes wrong. Because velocity banking doesn't give you vital information to do it right. Do you know we're seeing people now, and I'm going to show you some examples next week, that they're using lines of credit. The methodology is to use a line of credit at a lower interest cost to put it on another loan and save that interest. It does work, but it takes too much discipline. It takes a lot of other information to do it right. And so what we're getting are people with a lot of credit cards that are maxed out. Their line of credit is maxed out because they're looked on the internet and saw that somebody was talking about velocity banking, but didn't give them specific instructions on how much money to borrow from this line to put it on this mortgage, and to know exactly what you're getting for putting money on this mortgage. How much interest did you save? They don't know. And you can't optimize what you can't measure. We're going to have that up probably today, so that you can pre-register for that for next week. Velocity banking gone wrong. All right. On Friday, we're going to be talking about cash is not king. Cash is not king. Oh my gosh. There's a whole different set of thoughts going about that. Okay. Listen, I'll give you one thing that I do. I never use my debit card. I always use my credit card. I never, ever. Debit cards are emergency cards. That's what I have for an emergency. My credit card, if I lose every single credit card that I have, then I'll use my debit card as an emergency. Credit cards are better. They'll actually save you more money. I'll show you how a credit card can save you more money than a debit card. Okay. And then on Wednesday, we have a great replay. On Wednesday, great replay. 7 years pays off your student loans and your mortgage. What? About 7 years pays off your student loans and your mortgage. I don't care if you listen. I talk to doctors and lawyers. I talk to some folks who spent a lot of money, who borrowed a ton of money, and some of them have student loans larger than their mortgages. All of it can be paid off in about 7 years. Yeah, that is a replay. We're going to have it up on Wednesday. So I'll have that up for you later today so that you can register for Wednesday's show. Okay. So what is going on here? Let's get back to where we were. Okay. John and Rebecca Jones here. All right. And see where we are on the program. All right. So now we're in March. Okay. Okay, we're in March. This is the last day of March. Let's see what happens. The program is going down here. It's putting away money for another $828. Let's see what it does for April. Putting $2,000 away. Putting $450 away. In May, putting money away. And so it'll build up the cash to put more money on debt. That's what's happening. I got another comment here. What it says. King Thor, wow, 7 years to pay off your student loan and mortgages. That's right. About that. That's the average. That's what King Thor says right here. All right. Wow, 7 years to pay off your student loan and your mortgages. That's right. That's what we're going to be talking about next week. You don't want to miss that. Okay. So this is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about how the process of understanding how money actually works, how it all works so that you can have a better understanding of that. All right, King, let's let you come up here in Clubhouse, even though I would prefer that you come talk to us in he says, well, let me see if I can come up. Let me put that let me get that link for you again. All right, because we had the link for coming into to talk to us here in YouTube. And where did it go? Do I have to get it again? Let me see here. Let me copy it again and let's paste it. Come in, talk to us. We got a few minutes left. Use this link to come into StreamYard so that we can have a conversation. All right, he wants to come up in Clubhouse anyway.
Grand Rising. I was just over. I tried to join on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the StreamYard link no more.
Okay, well, it's there now.
Let me see. It's in
the comment section.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So that will take you into StreamYard. Just follow the. It says, do you want to go back to YouTube or do you want to come into the StreamYard? Take that and come into StreamYard.
Hold on, let me go over there.
Okay, great. All right. So that's kind of what we're doing, folks. Here's what we want to make sure people know. I didn't get any questions. I love getting questions. All right. But I just wanted to give you some idea that people who have different ideas about money generally get that way and they argue because of the anxiety that they feel, because they don't know what's going to happen in the future if they take somebody else's advice going against the advice that they've always been told, but they have no proof that what they've been told is actually correct. They don't have any data to back up what they believe. We're going to give you the data so that we can come up with an idea, a track to run on that is going to be best for both people in the relationship to get what they want financially out of the relationship, because we can run the numbers. Does that make sense to everybody? If you've enjoyed today's show, if you got anything out of today's show, give me a thumbs up or a fire emoji or whatever you want to do, just to let me know that you appreciate this information, that you got something out of it. But don't forget to share this information with others. Join us here on the P.I.L. Method channel. Subscribe to the channel. Tell others about it. Okay? People need to know this information so that marriages no longer have to break up over finances. Okay? You don't have to do that anymore. All right. Well, there's King. What's up, man? What you got for me?
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing there? It's the man's world. But yeah, it was very phenomenal what you were saying, because as I listened to the media and listened to the market, as you said, it takes up to 7 years to get rid of everything. You say student loans and what did you
Hmm.
say?
Yeah, student loans, credit cards. It's all about knowing how. And that's the average. That's the average time. What point did you want to make about it?
I just wanted to say it's absolutely phenomenal how it takes that amount of time, and being a direct salesman, you just hear people taking their whole lives to do this, or people sharing this information, but they're sharing it the wrong way completely.
Yes, because they don't know it. They're doing what they know to do, King. Because everybody's teaching it the same way. Nobody teaches it this way but us. And people who get it this way benefit. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, we're the only company out there in the world that will guarantee your results in writing. We guarantee your results in writing. If you follow the program, you will get the results we're talking about in writing, or you don't pay. We do what we say, or you don't pay. We take all the risk out of it for you. So listen, get the savings and earnings report. Okay. All right, listen, folks, we're going to get out of here. We've been here for almost 2 hours now. We're going to get out of here and say, King Thoy, thank you for coming in. I wish other people would come in to ask questions or make comments. But listen, we're going to thank you for being here. I did mute your mic so we wouldn't have any background noise. But listen, folks, if you enjoyed this information, let us know. Put something in the comments to let us know. All right, Jana, I appreciate you. All right, I appreciate you. I hope this is good stuff for you. All right, and everybody else, we appreciate the thumbs up. So remember, let me go over quickly next week's lineup. Let's go over it. Okay, on next Sunday is Velocity Banking gone wrong. Velocity Banking gone. Oh, let me get this off the screen here so we can see what's going on. Got to go to comments. Got to get that off the screen so we can see the whole thing. Okay. So let me remove this. There we go. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put next week's shows on right here. I usually have somebody else doing this for me. There we go. Next week's shows, Velocity Banking gone wrong. There it is. People are using Velocity Banking right now, but we're getting many people with maxed out credit cards and maxed out lines of credit. Now they're in a worse position than they were before, trying to do something that they've learned on YouTube. We're going to put all of that into our system and get them out of debt in about 7 years using a precise way of doing things instead of just guessing. On next Friday, cash is not king. Cash is not king. Stop thinking that you got to pay for everything cash. Start thinking like a bank. We're going to go over that and show you the right way to think about this, and we're going to show you the math behind it and why it is impractical. Because if it were practical, banks would not be in business. Banks are the biggest borrowers in town. So if cash were king, they would be investing their own cash and be done with it. There wouldn't be no need for banks. Banks are in business for one reason. They're not in the business of storing your money for you. Okay? It's not storing your money. You are lending them your money so that they can invest it, and then they pay you pennies on the dollar for the use of it. That's what's going on there. We're going to talk about that next week. Okay? You're only going to get that here. You're only going to get that here at the P.I.L.L Method. And then on Wednesday, here's a great replay for you. We're going to play this again. All right. This one was very popular. In 7 years, how to pay off student loans and your mortgage. Lord have mercy. Even if your student loan is as big as a mortgage, pay them both off in about 7 years. We're going to talk about that next week. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really do thank you for being here today. All right. I really do thank you for being here today. Let's get ready to end today's show. I appreciate every single one of you. And take this off. And I'm going to let me see here. All right. So we're going to be back here next week. All right. This is the end of the show today. Thank you for being here. Share this with everybody if you thought it was if it was good stuff. Buy the book, become an affiliate, and get a savings and earnings report. Remember, go to ice10k.com. Oh, you know what? For the whole show, I didn't put this across the screen. All right, go to ice10k.com. It's running at the bottom of the screen right now. For the whole show, I missed that. So go to ice10k.com, get a savings and earnings report, fill it out. One of my associates will call you in this next week, verify the information. Once it's verified, you can get a savings and earnings report for free. If you like the results, they will set you up with a consultation, and you can choose, or you can choose to become a client or not. But if you want those results, we will show you how to get your bank to pay for the lifetime program, and we'll guarantee your results. Thank you, everybody. All right, we got one more video to share with you on our way out. So let me get that up. Let me cue that up for you. We're going to cue that up, and then we're going to be gone. But we will see you. All right. We'll see you next week, Wednesday at 7 a.m. Friday. These are all Central Time. Wednesday at 7 a.m. Friday at 7 a.m. and on Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Okay. And that's 8 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. respectively, Eastern Time. So, all right. Thank you so very much, folks. This was very near and dear to my heart, how we are helping married couples understand finances from the right perspective. Okay. So where's my video? Here's our final video for today. And where did it go? All right. And okay, I'm trying to find my video. Oh, here it is. Okay. So folks, see you next week. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy your Easter weekend. I know you got guests, you going to church or got people coming over. Enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. How many want to know how to pay off all of your debt in an average of 7 to 9 years? You can do all of this without refinancing, without change to your budget, without sacrificing lifestyle.
Me and my husband do the P.I.L.L method, and last year we were able to pay down $33,000 on our mortgage without feeling like we were poor. We still did tons of entertaining things and enjoyed our family.
You don't have to eat beans and rice every day. You don't have to cut up your credit cards. You don't have to drive a 30-year-old car. You don't have to sell pizzas at night to pay off your mortgage. All you need to do is pay the bank less interest. That's what we're talking about today. Here is what P.I.L.L method stands for: prepayment of principal, isolation of principal amounts, leverage, and liquidity. You understand it? You have a way of getting out of debt more efficiently. The interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. You think you're buying a $500,000 home. The true cost of that home is what? $758,000. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 51.777%. That's what's going on with this loan. The ability to read and defeat an amortization schedule is not taught at any level of financial education. I need you to understand the power of a penny. You will not hear what I'm talking about from Dave Ramsey. Do you know why?
because I own the copyright. I literally wrote the book.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L. method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.